Ain't a miracle. God said, when you find the wife, you has found it a good thing, you know what I mean? You know what I need? I need a Christ-like friend.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Real Talk with Terry. And today I have three lovely ladies with me who read my book, No Longer a Bridesmaid. And they're here today to share with everyone the impact that the book has had on their lives and to just inspire those single ladies out there who might be wondering, when is it going to be their time to get married? They're just here to share their inspirational story of living a successful, single, whole life. And right now I'm going to introduce the panel to you. I have the lovely Sunny, who is the founder of the Princess Book Club. Sunny is a divorced mother of two. She has a son and a daughter. Next, I have Sanai. Sanai has never been married. She is actually a single mother with a 24-year-old son, and she has two lovely grandchildren who are twins. And we have Miss Delisha Bloyer, who has never been married. She has raised three children, three grown children, and she has two beautiful grandbabies. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate you coming out to talk. And first of all, I just want to talk a little bit about the book and what the impact has had on you as a single woman in today's society. And my first question is, which personality in the book most or closely describes you? I talk about 7 single lady personalities. So I'd like to hear from each lady and just kind of know which one of the personalities do you feel like most closely describes you? And that can be in the past, up until now, or you right now. And we'll start with you, Sunny. Which personality?
I was really flirtatious, and now I'm much more reserved.
Okay. So do you feel like that is more the career woman or the professional student, or which personality in the book do you feel resonates more with where you are right now?
Career woman.
Career woman. So
Indeed.
You focus a lot on your career versus
Very much driven, yes.
trying to focus on a relationship.
Indeed.
And then what about you, Sanai?
I think it has to be the single.
The single parent?
Parent.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, because you have a son and you were primarily a single parent.
Right, yeah.
And how has that affected your dating life or your desire to even want to date being a single
It's
parent?
weird reading that chapter. I started giggling because everything that you said in that particular chapter was so true.
Right.
You put your kids first. You don't let anything come between you and your kid. And if that person's not where you need them to be, you kick them out the door.
Right.
So it's one of those. As I lived till this day, is where, because I have the grandbabies now, it's like now my standards are even higher.
Right.
And it's just, you have to do what you have to do. Family comes first.
Exactly. Got it. Okay. And what about you, Delisha? Which personality do you feel most describes you? It can be in the past, up to now, or right now.
I actually feel that I kind of don't fit into one of those categories altogether. There's probably 3 different ones that I could see pieces of myself.
Okay.
That would be the career woman, the single parent,
Right.
for obvious reasons, and definitely a little bit of the daddy's little girl as well.
Right.
I was very close to my dad, and actually in a little bit different from the way you wrote it in the book. I can absolutely appreciate. The part that's a little different for me is I was actually able to look at it from 2 different ways. So I could see pieces of my dad that I would love to have in a man, and then pieces that I thought I would avoid that as well.
Right, absolutely. That's a great point. So you saw things that weren't so edifying that you said, okay, you know what, I don't per se like this quality, so I know for a fact I don't want that quality in a mate. That's great.
Correct.
Okay. And do you ladies have a list? You know, we all as single women, we had a list.
Everybody.
I know I had a list, and the more I felt like I grew spiritually, the longer my list became. You know, you kind of start out with the basic stuff. You know, for me, I'm a Christian, so I would always be like, you know, he has to be a Christian, you know, has a job and honest and trustworthy and loyal and, you know, athletic, and you want all these qualities. And it comes to a point where it's like, you know what? my list needs to mature. You know, as you mature, I really feel like your list matures. But I want to hear from you ladies. So you all kind of laughed and shook your head like, yeah, we have a list. Okay, I'll start with you, Sanai. What are some things that are on your list?
Well, like you said, as you get older, mature, your list prior to me maturing, it was long. It was like, has to be tall, has to be athletic, has to have a car, has money, and has a house, no kids. And it just got longer and longer.
Right.
Has to be nicely built, and you start looking, I was like, well, that's superficial.
Exactly.
You know? And then it's like, and as I got older, well, I should say matured, it was like, okay, you know what? He has to have a job, needs to have a car. If he has kids, he better be taking care of his kids.
Exactly.
And one thing, you have to be church going.
Exactly.
And so if I have that foundation next to loyalty, communication, honesty, it's all part of it. But those are the 4 or 5 criteria that I said it needs to be first and foremost.
Got it.
Because right now in this day and age, as I get older, the men is getting a little slimmer.
Kind of the pickings, slim pickings.
So it's one of those like, okay, you can't be that picky, because I was going to leave it as, you know, job, no kids. And I was like, no, let me shuffle that off to the side. Because nowadays I've been running into guys that do have kids.
Exactly.
And I'm like, as long as you take care of them, and you have a house, you have a roof over your head, and you have a job and a car, we're good.
And you bring up an interesting point, because at some point in my single walk, I actually had that requirement that I didn't want a man with kids. What changed your mind?
I think it just realized I was being a little selfish. You know, and everyone was like, you know, my cousin, she's married. She just got married maybe 2009. And she's like, Sanai, you're getting older. You're not back in your 20s no more.
Right. Like most men are going to have kids.
You're going up with these youngsters. So and I know you don't want anyone 9 years younger than you or 10 years. You know, you want roughly around your age, maybe 2 or 3 years older. Most of them have either been married, divorced, going through a separation. They have kids. You're going to be a part of a blended family. So start thinking in that.
Right, kind of accept it.
Accept it, right. And so it's you first and then the kids. If they see that you put your family first, you're going to be able to get a man that's going to respect that.
Exactly.
And is going to honor that.
Okay.
Because most men, well, I would say that has kids, they want to make sure that you're good with your kids.
Exactly.
You know?
Got it.
So.
Okay. And what about you, Delisha? What are some things that are on your list?
You know, ironically, I've never really been a person that had a list of major items that I look for. I believe everybody has a list to some degree.
Exactly.
It's never been a solid. And I think it's pretty much the same today as it was when I was in my 20s. I'm an absolute lover of the human race. I just adore people. So I just have to have someone that is respectful of people.
Right.
Definitely respectful of me, number one. And the number one thing for me, a man has to have respect for his mother.
Right.
If he doesn't respect his mother, he won't respect you.
Amen. That was
And
a big
I am
one for
an
me.
absolute believer in that. So outside of that, it just has to be, well, definitely something I have to add to that is my children have to like them.
Right.
And I've always believed that children and animals are the best judges of character, right?
I truly believe that. I truly
So if your
agree.
children like them, then they're good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you brought up something that I don't think enough women really pay attention to, and that was big for me. You said the relationship that he has with his mother. That is major.
Yes.
You really need to observe how a man treats his mother, the kind of relationship he has with her. Because my thing is, no man is going to treat you better than he treats his own mom, the person that brought him into the world. So if he doesn't respect her, he probably won't respect you. So I think that's something that not enough women really pay attention to, is what kind of relationship does this guy have with his mom? So you brought up a good point, because that was one of my big ones as well. And I don't think a lot of people really pay that much attention, but we should, as women, really pay that attention. Sonny, what about you? What
I
about
like
your list?
them just like I like my coffee. Strong, black, and hot.
Okay.
You all are playing.
Well, say that. Okay.
Honestly, I do. I love men that are tall and very, very dark. Like they say, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. You know, the darker the meat, the deeper the root.
Okay.
So, and that is what I'm physically attracted to. I can't shy away from that. It's the truth. In addition to that, I do want him to love God. If he doesn't love God, he can't love me.
Of course, right.
So, but yeah, I'm going to be honest. I do like dark-skinned men, and I am attracted to them.
Interesting. Now, it's kind of interesting that you mentioned a physical characteristic, because I always say, you know, what about those internal things? Because a lot of times I had physical characteristics as well. Like, you know, I want him to be tall and athletic and this and that. What if there was a guy who wasn't tall, dark, and handsome, who fit other characteristics that you had on your list? Would you not consider that person because they don't perhaps look the way you want them to look?
That's an excellent question. We love who we love.
Right.
There's a thing called oxytocin, and we are attracted to them, whether we like it or not. And it is what it is. So it doesn't have anything to do with logistics. If we are attracted to that person, we are attracted, and there's nothing that can be done about it.
Right. Okay, I got it. Okay, well, good. So at what point do you distinguish your must-haves from your desires and your wants? Because obviously, is that a must-have or is it a desire and a want? Because that's something that I talk about in the book for single ladies to consider. You know, look at your list. Take stock of the list. Is it a must-have or is it a desire and a want? So that's something to what is it?
It parallels.
Okay.
And I believe that within the deepest regions of my heart.
Okay.
We could try to make this list like a grocery list. But in reality, at the end of the day, when that rubber meets the road, we are going to be attracted to who we are attracted to.
Okay. Thank you. And a lot of women can relate to that. Yes. Thank you. Okay, ladies, let's keep this conversation going. We actually were talking about soulmates right after we went to break. So I just want to share this for other ladies because they may be wondering. Sanaa, you had a very good question. And what was your question?
The question was, can we have more than one soulmate?
Can we have more than one soulmate? And my answer was, in the past, I really did believe that there was like one soulmate out there for me, just one person that God had ordained. But as I've grown, as I've matured, what I realized is that it depends on our season in life, where we are, if we're ready, if we're prepared. I think that God causes people to cross our paths, and you're laughing, Sonny. That he causes people, I'm gonna let you answer and give your input, but he causes people to cross our paths, and if it's the right season, and if it's that person who is attracted to us, maintain composure, then I do think that person could be a soul tie or a soulmate for us. But I don't think that there's one person ordained, a one person ordained soulmate for us. I just think it depends on the time, the season, and where we are in life. And you answer. I want to hear what Sunny has to say.
Something funny.
I know, before she loses it on us. Okay, you had a very good perspective that I agree with on that. What's your perspective on, do we have one soulmate, or what's your feelings on that?
My perspective is that spirit meets spirit. Whatever spirit you're under at that time, that's what's going to be attracted to you because they know each other.
Right.
So if you're in a lustful state of mind, that is what's going to be attracted to you.
Right.
If you're in the anointed at that time, that is what is going to be attracted to you.
Right.
So, and as far as having more than one soulmate, I believe that women, a woman's anatomy is designed to have one soulmate, versus men are derivative from Africa. Men have always had a multitude of women at one time, ever since the beginning of time. God said to David, I gave you many wives, and if you wanted more, I would have given you more. So men are supposed to have more than one wife, whereas women are supposed to just have one soulmate.
Okay. All right. That is interesting. It's very interesting. And did you have a perspective on that, Delisha? Do you feel like there's one ordained soulmate for us, or do you feel like that it just depends? What do you feel?
I kind of agree. I mean, I agree with what you say about spirit attracting spirit. It's definitely, I don't believe it's just one soulmate.
Right.
Just like I believe that someone can have a long, fantastic relationship or marriage that lasts, my grandparents were married 66 years.
Right.
It doesn't mean that if something was to happen and they couldn't remarry or they couldn't find that person for them again. So I agree what you say about spirit and spirit attracting. I think it really just matters where you are in your life,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
And sometimes you're looking just for more fun and fun on every level, right? It could just be you want to experience life, you want to travel, you want to, other points in your life you could be very career oriented, and so you're going to kind of interact differently.
Right.
But I think your soul personality is who you are.
Right.
And really, I love people so much, and I interact with people everywhere I go. And I feel like I make little connections all the time with
Right.
people. And it's just some connections will grow
Right.
into something beautiful. You know that saying, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Exactly.
And I believe that's true in friendships
Right.
and relationships and everything.
I totally believe that. I agree. And I just want to clarify something, because you said something very key about soulmates. And I think what we need to realize is that soul and spirit is very different.
Indeed.
Spirit is the image of God. We're made in His image, and that's our
Our
spirit.
heart.
Exactly. Our soul is more of our earthly realm. That's our
brain.
feelings. Exactly. And like you said, as far as our soulish realm, there are people that we will come across that have similar likes that we're attracted to, and that was the primary reason why I said I don't feel like there's just like the one person who is a soulmate. I feel like not anybody, but anyone who meets those desires or goals that we are attracted to, if it's the right season, tying into exactly what Sunny said. If your spirit is aligned, then your souls can match up and you can be one. I think you wanted to say something, Sanai.
I think everything you're saying is true, and for the women out there, for the single women out there that are looking and searching, don't look, don't search.
Exactly.
It's not our job.
It's going to happen when it happens. Once again, it's the season. And so, just cleanse yourself. Purge
Exactly.
yourself. Get rid of your past. Your past is your past. The present is the present.
Exactly.
Look forward to the future.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you brought up something very key, the whole don't look. Because there's so many women out there like, where do I need to go? I need to be looking over here, looking over there. It's not our job to look.
Right.
By
It says
nature.
when a man findeth
Right.
a wife, he findeth a good
good
thing.
thing.
So he is the one that's supposed to
He's
look for
the
us.
one that's supposed to be looking. And what we're supposed to be doing is, like you said, purging and preparing ourselves so that the man that we desire will notice us. And one thing that I always say is you have to look in the mirror at who we are as women, because we attract what we are, not what we want.
Exactly.
And not enough women realize that. They're like, why do I always attract the same kind of man? I attract the dogs and the cheaters and the this and the that and and the broke man. And
that answers the age-old question: why do good girls like bad boys?
Exactly.
Because if you're bad, it makes me real good. So women tend to like to be victims and to be good. So they're attracted to the thugs and things of that nature because when you put the two together, it makes them look good. Well, no, it doesn't.
Right.
It's just going to bring
you down. It brings you down. It is
You see
interesting.
Whitney and Bobby, perfect example.
Yeah, but I don't like that
Come on,
example.
she wasn't all that good to
Right.
begin with.
Right. It's like, I don't really like that example, but it's all good. I get your point.
Yes.
It's all good. Did you want to say something, Delisha? I thought you wanted to say something.
It's funny because as I'm listening to you guys talk, I agree with what you're saying. I absolutely agree with that. First of all, I just have to say, I think it's funny the choice of word you use, deposit. I just think that's great. I'm like, oh, okay. But it's funny because for me, this is where I'm different, I think, than most average women. I've been told my whole life, I've always had more male friends in my life. Growing up, I did everything with my dad and my brother. It's not until my late 40s that I really make connections with women so much easier now than I used to. So my whole life has always been very much, I think a lot like a man. I really do. Whether you want to call that good or bad, for me it works, right? It just really works. So I don't get caught up in a lot of the things that some women find themselves caught up in. One thing that I have always thank the Lord that one thing I've always been really, really successful at is no matter what happened in my relationship, when it's done, I try to spend some reflection time and like, okay, what happened, you know? And I've always been really good at putting that behind me and moving on, you know, and not taking out what happened before has nothing to do with whoever you meet moving forward.
Exactly.
So I've always been really thankful that I've had the ability to do that because, you know, I have a really hard time with those women that become really bitter and like, I hate men and really why? Why?
Right.
Because that one guy did that to you? Well, that was your choice.
Exactly.
You stayed and you let it happen, right? So, you know, figure it out and move on. And I'm kind of just one of those. So, I mean, I agree with what you guys are saying, absolutely. I really do, because every person that comes into your life touches you in a different way.
They do.
And those deposits that are being made, okay, that just kills me. But those deposits that are being made, absolutely. I mean, everybody changes you.
Right.
You know, or you learn something. But I like to look at every relationship like I'm learning. I'm learning about myself from that person, and I'm learning a little bit more about people in general. So
You actually brought up a good point, something that there's a lot of debate on. You said you've always been friends with guys, and that's interesting because some people feel like, can you, and I guess you mean platonic. You've been platonic friends with guys. Some people feel like guys and girls really can't be friends because really the guy just wants something from them. Can you address that? Do you really think that girls and guys, because I take it every guy that you've been friends with, you haven't necessarily had a relationship with them. So girls and guys can be friends.
I'm a 100% believer in that. In fact, I love it because, you know, when you're best friends with someone of the opposite sex, it's the conversations are fascinating. You know how everybody says, you know, we sit around and do girl talk and, you know, like that man's locker room kind of talk. Well, when you mix those two together on a regular daily basis, it's pretty eye-opening. And so prior to going into the corporate America world that I'm in, I was actually a bartender for a long, long time. That's how I raised my babies. And the conversations that I would have with these men sitting at the bar is fascinating. And just to hear them talk about women in general, my wife does this and my girlfriend does this and da-da-da. And really? Okay, so look, you know, just the day-to-day conversations that you have, and you really learn what people are thinking.
Right.
And it's not what people think it is. And I think that, you know, like the guy friends that I've had in my life always want to say, why is this girl doing this? And I'm like, well, I can't speak to her directly, but have you thought about this? Or have you taken a look at what you said to her? Why did she react like that? And, you know, we kind of do the same. We bounce off each other. And he's like, hey, do you like this scent on me? And, you know, like, is this a good cologne for me? And I'm like, you know, just all that stuff.
Right.
The same thing that you do as girls, your girlfriend talk, it's the same, it's just a different tone to it.
I completely disagree.
Okay.
All right.
I grew up as a tomboy and with boys always around me. When I began to develop, my older brother, who's 15 years older than me, noticed that the boys were starting to look at me different, my friends, my male friends, and he said, you can no longer hang out with boys. And I said, why?
Okay.
They're my friends. And when I came to, I didn't ask that question anymore. So he helped me to make a clear distinction between the species and why men and women, boys and girls, cannot cohabitate in that regard, because eventually, you know, there's going to be a sexual attraction. I would not want my husband to have a best friend as a female. If you married me, doesn't that mean I'm your best friend? If not, then there's a problem. Perhaps you should not marry me, you know? So I definitely believe that we need to stay in our lane.
Okay, so that's interesting. That's a different perspective. That's interesting because I agree actually with both of you guys, because growing up, I think I talk about that. A lot of my friends, they were guys, but again, this was when we were much younger. you know, growing up. And I think even kind of in high school, I still had a lot of guy friends that were just platonic. We liked to talk. I was a budding rapper. So I used to want to be a rapper in another life, a rapper kind of in the music industry. So at that time, a lot of guys were in it. So they were my friends because of that, because we had that shared interest of music and of rap and of writing. So we just kind of bonded on that level. It was nothing sexual about it. But now that I'm older, I'm wiser, I would have to say perhaps in my 20s and I don't know, maybe my 30s, for me, I don't know if I would have a guy as, say, a best friend. But I mean, who knows? But it's interesting to hear two different perspectives. Somebody that is worked for, and then somebody who says no, you know, guys and girls.
Definitely not.
Because it is. There's always two perspectives on it. There's people who feel strongly like, no, girls and guys cannot be friends because the line is going to get crossed.
Oh, indeed it will.
You know, and then you say that you've had plenty of friendships.
I think it's better to say it may, not that it will.
That it won't.
Because I'm a living example that it doesn't necessarily mean it will.
Okay, got it. So, did you have a perspective?
I was gonna say, because I think males and females can be friends. I don't see any reason why they couldn't be friends. It's up to the female to go ahead and set the standards. It's like,
Right.
you set the example.
Good point.
You know, you have control of this. You know,
We don't have control. We're emotional beings, and we can slip into that in a vulnerable moment. And it is a man's job to find that Achilles heel.
well, I can just say,
So what you're really
to the rule.
So what you're really saying is you just don't trust men. Is that what you're saying? That's what it sounds like.
do with men do. Boys will be boys.
Is
For me,
Okay.
She's crazy.
It's
Okay.
because I work with a bunch of males
Yeah.
right now. And I work with personal trainers.
okay.
And they're like, damn, you are hard on us.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm keeping it real. And it's like, if we go on a personal level, it's like, you're not with no one? Why are you still single? I'm like, because I haven't found the right one. And I
Okay.
said, but I'm not finding. I'm not searching. So it's either going to happen or it's not.
Right.
If God has intended me to be single for the rest of my life and just give advice to women and to men, so be it. I'm cool with it.